Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network podcast. I am your host, Anthony Ragucci, and here with a few friends in the Delaware County area. We get in a basement and we talk about a certain topic. Today's topic, the Game Awards 2024. Here to discuss, as always, my co-host, the Triple Threat, Chris Trio.
Gooch, how are we this fine Sunday afternoon?
I'm doing well. It's been busy. Haven't had a lot of time to game. Too many shows. Too much shit.
On.
Don't have a lot of time. Had a death in the family. Don't have a lot of time because of that. Jesus Christ, man.
It's been it's
Indie coming out was like a moment where I'm like, I can't do this.
It's so tough too because it's not like I think in a different timeline where it's not as well received. Maybe you can feel fine about like holding off for now. You're like, all right, I'll get it and maybe hold on for the moment. But everyone's like, this is great. So it's like, oh, I want to jump into this right away.
A lot of games came out in that end of November, beginning of December time period. Yeah. Usually there's like one or two releases, but there was like 4.
Pretty great year. Yeah.
Good year for games. We'll get into it. But first, let's talk about what we're playing, doing, watching, whatever. Trio, I went first last time. Why don't you start us off?
So, I'm continuing on with Silo Season 2. That's been a lot of fun. Just going to continue to recommend that show. Won't get too much more into it. I talked about it on the last episode. So if you want more of my thoughts on that, feel free to go back. Otherwise, though, my girlfriend and I did just finally check out Beetlejuice, which is already on HBO to stream for free. Like I said,
Did that come out like at the end of the summer?
I want to say so. Maybe I don't know. I thought it was like October. That would make more sense to me. But
okay.
Either way, it's a quick turnaround for streaming, anyways, as it's kind of the norm now. Really enjoyed it. There were some kind of ancillary storylines that I didn't give a shit about, and I was like, "What's going on here?" But for the most part, it's Tim Burton building out that universe further. And I thought, what's her name? Why can't I remember? Winona Ryder. Fantastic. She's really great in it, even along with what's her name?
Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates. I was gonna say Catherine Hahn.
And,
Kathy Bates.
Jenna Ortega.
They're just chewing up the scenery. All three of them work super well together. Fucking Michael Keaton. I know he's so much older and he looks so much older out of makeup, and there might be some CG tricks, but he literally looks the same. Like he looks like Beetlejuice still from like the 80s or whenever that movie came out. But I had a lot of fun with it. A lot of practical effects, a lot of just stupid fun gags. You see Danny DeVito for a minute, which is fun. What's his name?
Is he in the original?
He's not in the original. He's just kind of a little throwaway kind of afterlife character in this. And then Willem Dafoe plays this detective who is investigating a crime that has to do with Beetlejuice's lover. That kind of that's the ancillary plot where I'm like, this just feels like you're kind of throwing things in here. But Willem Dafoe plays a guy who I guess played a detective in real life. He's an actor who died, who is now really a detective in the afterlife, which is a lot of fun, and he chews the scenery. So definitely worth checking out, I would say, especially if you enjoyed the first one. You're not going to beat that first one, though. I only just recently saw it. I think I talked about it when I did. You've never seen it? It holds up, Gooch, like phenomenally. I was truly blown away. There's definitely some technical hiccups in it where you're like, okay, this is obviously an older movie.
Right.
But I mean, times-wise, it feels very, what's the word? That's like out of time. Like it works very well. It feels like it works whatever time period you're watching it in. So definitely would recommend that. But moving on to some games. I've been continuing along. I was going to say Coopering along with Sly Cooper.
You were playing Sly Cooper?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this like a month ago. I started it when I bought it.
The PS4 version?
The PS
or 5 version?
No, the PS5 version. That's like the new style, like the emulated one where you can remember we were talking about how I can fast forward and rewind.
The PS3 version.
Right. Okay. So I guess
they just released like a bunch of like classic PlayStation 2 games.
2 and 3, right? Sly Cooper 2 and 3 as well.
Like
so
they have new lists on PS5 and stuff. Yeah.
That kind of lit the fire under my butt to go back to it again because I started it and I played Sly Cooper when I was younger, but I don't really remember it. I just remember really liking it. Mm-hmm. And going back to it has been a bit of a trip. It's for sure like the first in the series. I think the platforming for the time is very good.
It's very basic in terms of gameplay and what you're doing and what you can do.
Right.
I mean, I think 2 and 3 kind of expand upon that and each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1 is very base.
It is, but I will at the same time give it credit for being much more expansive than I realized, at least at the beginning. Once you start getting some of the Thievius Raccoonus pages and it unlocks new gameplay elements and stuff like that.
Yeah. I know like the Spire one is one of them. I'm trying to remember what else you unlock.
There's like a sprint one. There's like a double one where you can throw down like a body double of yourself to attack that the enemies attack. But it's very good, and it's been a lot of fun to get back to. I'm excited to go to 2 and 3, especially.
Have you played those?
I did, but again, it's one of those games I don't really remember at all. Yeah. So I just remember being like, "This is awesome." So it's been a lot of fun to go back to.
I would, if you're itching for more Sly, once you're done, I would recommend Thieves in Time. Just to cap it off and finish them all.
Okay, all right. Is that would that come after 3? Like I would play 1, 2,
that was
3,
the one that
Thieves
Sanzaru did on PS3.
Okay.
You can stream it. It's on. It's on there. It's not as good. I'll be honest, but I think it's like, if you're gonna do the 3, why not finish it
round it off? Yeah. When did Sly Cooper come out?
The original?
Yeah.
Probably like 2000, 2001.
Is it really that early? Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. I would have guessed like 2003. That's
I could be wrong.
No, but or
I could Google
that sounds
it right
very
now
reasonable to me though. So
set the record straight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But speaking of returning to things, I've been finally getting back into Returnal. Gooch, I think Returnal is like one of the only true next gen games we've gotten, like from the PS5 and like the Xbox Series generation of consoles. The way it plays,
2002.
Okay, yeah, that's wild. The way Returnal plays, the way it looks, how quickly it loads, and I know it's what's that type of game? Roguelike. And that, probably contributes to it, how it adds in these random sectors or sections and, pulls from different things that it has already preloaded. But it's just so fantastic, and the fights are beautiful, man. I didn't remember how like gorgeous the game is.
Yeah, sometimes like when you say those kind of things, and I'm like, like I don't think I had that thought before, and I'm like, I really got to slow down when I'm playing games. Sometimes I feel like I'm really sometimes I don't stop to smell the roses kind of thing.
Sure.
Like, there's so much going on, and there's so many games to play, and I want to get through things that I just kind of forget that I'm like, I probably should like.
Take it in a little,
like
maybe.
Metaphorically look around,
right?
Maybe like literally too.
Sure,
but yeah. I think I would agree with you. I remember that game feeling very next gen. I love the haptics of that for the PS5. I feel like they utilize them pretty well and pretty uniquely. I mean, I think PlayStation still has that problem where a lot of their exclusive games are still not utilizing the DualSense to its full capacity. Like it's just like it's too gimmicky. And it's just like, how are we going to fit this into our game or whatever? And they just ended up, I feel like they end up just giving up or not really trying to do anything unique with that tech.
And for like first parties especially, because third parties I kind of understand a little bit more in the way of you have to section a team off to do that and, assign someone and take resources to make that happen. Where you're not going to do that on a third-party game because it's not affecting both games. But yeah, you're right. First parties especially. I feel like the only couple, Returnal's one of them. Spider-Man, I feel like you really feel it with the thwips and the web swinging and stuff like that. But for the most part, I would completely agree. They really need to start taking more advantage of that. But yeah, Returnal, like you're sitting there with the one boss fight that's like at the top of the spire and he's like playing an organ and it's just sending out all these lights and these beams and you got to dodge it and you got to really be on top of it. But the controls are just so tight and it looks so good that you're like, man, this is a fucking great time. And I would definitely recommend Returnal. It's pretty hard. It gets tough, especially I'm on the water biome right now. Oh my God, it's getting real rough.
Are you going to do the Sisyphus stuff?
The tower. I can't remember how far I've gotten on it. I messed with that when
I remember like coming back to that and I enjoyed it a lot.
It's a lot of fun.
There's some extra achievements there and some extra story if I
already have a good amount of the trophies, so depending on how insane they are, I might go for the
remember like what I had to do for that. There's some RNG with finding certain like runes and stuff. You have to like find certain maps, but
gotcha. Interesting. But yeah, the water biome is really tough. I'm curious, how much would you do you remember how much I would have left after this?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Really
it's so long, yeah.
I mean, not even ago. I mean, it was long ago, but also the levels don't really like they kind of blend in.
For sure.
Like even the bosses, I'm not even sure I remember the bosses of that game at all. It all kind of blends in together since it's been so long.
That makes sense. And when did it come? I guess it's like 2 years. It came out like with the PlayStation 5?
It came out in 2021.
Wow.
Summer of 2021.
Wow, that's actually insane.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on here. I was actually playing, Gooch, a little bit of Mario Party Jamboree. I've been trying to throw a bit more of the Switch stuff in here, especially when I'm playing like that. It's the newest Mario Party. I had, I guess, the Mario Party from 2 like generations.
That was on the Wii U.
I think so, yeah. The one that I have now. Well, actually, I thought the one that I had before was the one that the Switch launched with. And then another one launched on the Switch, and this is the third one.
Maybe I'm confusing that with Cart.
That would make sense. Because, yeah, Cart's been 8 since the Switch launched, I think. Maybe even before. But it's a lot of fun. It's way more in-depth. There's so many different... As someone who plays these games a lot, like my friends come over, Super and Cassie are over a lot, and my girlfriend there, Tamira, is over all the time. So we like to play these kind of more party games. And it's really a big step up from the last Mario Party that I was playing. I think, again, there was one in between this one and the one that I was playing. So there probably was some of that within that game, but they brought back a lot of things that I feel like were missing, like dueling mini games, many different islands to go to. There's only 4 stages in the one that we were playing. A lot of cool different like mini games in the way of how you're using the motion controls and stuff like that. So I think that game's a lot of fun. It's worth a pickup, especially if you're going to play it with like a full group of people. I think you can play it with up to like 6 people, but I might be wrong. But Mario Party Jamboree, a lot of fun. And then after that, Gooch, it's mostly been indie, which I won't get too into. Yeah. I mean, we can speak to this too.
Yeah.
But I will just say off the bat, man, I fucking love it so far.
Yeah, it's, I mean, very Dishonored.
It's incredibly video gamey.
It's a like a big like immersive sim. I'm really, I'm still in the Vatican area, or Vatican City is the first area, and I'm still like not even, I would say, like 6 hours into it. I'm still like very early on, still kind of roaming around Rome, right. And
the Vatican's
discovering all that Mussolini infested Vatican City has to offer, and I am loving it. It's a vibe,
dude. It's a vibe,
and the stealth focus I like too, and like how like combat really like it's a thing and it's good, but like that's sort of like the secondary option.
It's funny. I would almost say it's very equal in the way of like the stealth is there and you can use it very well, but it doesn't really punish you if you aren't stealthy. Like if you get caught in a room, you can just clear a room. And like nothing will really happen. There's no consequence in that way. But I still really appreciate that. Again, you said immersive sim. I totally agree. I did not even realize how heavily it would lean into that, especially just with certain things like, you're opening the drawer and like you're turning the locks to open the door, and it's little kind of motifs like that. But like I was saying, it's just such a video game, if that makes any sense. Like I just never expected them to lean this hard into it. I thought it was going to be a bit more cinematic, and it is very cinematic from obviously the cutscenes and all that perspective. But I did not expect to enjoy this game as much as I am. I expected to like it a lot. I think I've said this before. It was a game that probably shouldn't exist right now. Like with all things considered, like Dial of Destiny didn't do too well. It's a 40-year-old franchise. It started in the 80s. It's very more of a boomer kind of fan base, for lack of a better term, that age group. But they knocked it out of the park, and it's making me want to. I know we just did, check out our rewind reviews of the indie series, but it's making me almost want to watch them again because it's just been so much fun.
I would agree.
Troy Baker's fantastic.
I've had the thought. Yeah, Troy Baker, I think is one of his best performances.
Easily.
And like game of the year worthy.
Easily, for sure.
Yeah, I think Troy's excellent in this.
One more thing. So this was something I actually spent like 3 hours on trying to fix yesterday. So as you know, I purchased a PSVR 2 on sale. It was $350, usually $550. It's like, okay, I'm going to purchase this device. I'm going to see what it has to offer, with the comforting fact that I know if I really don't like it, I can send this back within the month. No skin off my back. Not with the intent to do that, of course. The intent was to keep it and like it. And I got to say, when I unpacked it, there were a lot of things I really liked about it. One, we were talking about the packaging in the Discord on the 30th anniversary controller. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very shitty, very paper thin. I didn't like that at all. I would like that to come in a better container, please. Thank you.
Right.
Didn't have that issue with PSVR 2. It was very well packed. It came very tightly sealed and packed away in the Tetris way of everything fit in the box very well. Love the controllers. The headset itself feels way better than an Oculus. I don't love the wire. Obviously, that's definitely a step down. But the way it sits on your face is so different. So you've worn an Oculus, right?
Yeah.
So you know how it kind of, with that, all the weight's on your like cheekbones, it's all kind of resting on your face.
Right.
The PSVR has the crown. You've probably seen it on it.
Yes.
And I didn't really understand how it worked when I put it on the first time until I opened the directions. So you have the face thing too, like your goggles, which you can pull out with a button. They're on like a slider and they go in and out. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So that weight is not resting on your face. All of the weight is resting on the crown, which you like use a crank on the back to like fit to your head. It's so much more comfortable than an Oculus. Like I could see, and it breathes a lot better. They have like, I'm trying to think of how to even describe it. Like it's like a plasticky, very thin, rubbery, I should say, like set of like, I don't even know how to describe it. It like suction cups to your face almost, and it allows it to breathe a lot better. Its suction cup makes it sound like it really sticks to your face. It sticks enough to keep all the light out, but it's not hard enough to where it's uncomfortable. And I really like the form factor. I really like how the controllers feel. But then I set it up, Gooch, and I want to try No Man's Sky. Mm-hmm. All right, I plug it in, I turn it on. It's booting up. It fits with my eyes very, very well. It has the eye tracking all set up. Looks great. Press R2 to start the game. My R2
So
is
you use the DualSense?
No, I'm using the PSVR 2 controllers. Okay, that's not working. All right, it's my L2 in No Man's Sky. Everything else works. The A button, I can get into the game, I can pull things out, but when it wants me to like go back in menus, I have to click L2.
Yeah.
And it's not working.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, that's annoying. I start looking up online. This is apparently an issue people have been having since the start of PSVR 2 with certain games that they just don't like. They're working fine in menus. The controllers. I can move through the menus. I can press the buttons.
So the controller works.
The controller works, but when I try and start up a game, it does not work.
Okay.
And then I tried Resident Evil 4 VR mode. Same thing. It just wasn't reading. Like it was like switch to your PSVR 2 controllers to start the game and click R2. Click, click, click. Nothing. It just won't start. And I was fiddling around with it. Excuse me, sorry. I was looking up on forums. Like I said, this is apparently an issue people have been facing. All these workarounds saying to reset the controller, turn off the controller in the game and turn it back on. Don't turn on your controllers until you get into the game. Use a PSVR 2 or PS DualSense controller to get into the game. And I just couldn't figure it out. And honestly, by the last hour, end of the third hour, I was very annoyed and frustrated. And I was like, I haven't even played this. And I bought it. And I don't know, maybe I'm going to think about calling PlayStation support tomorrow because they're closed on the weekends and seeing if they can figure it out. I keep seeing online, they'll be like, they'll send you a new controller, but I'm like, I don't know if I even feel like going through all that.
Right.
Like, do I just maybe send this back and just call it a day at this point? Like I am at a bit of a crossroad. I'm going to sleep on it tonight and call support tomorrow.
That's a shame.
And it's just, it really has kind of soured me a little bit.
I know I was
here.
kind of baffled by that purchase because
Right.
I know you you had the Oculus Rift
Right.
or the Oculus Quest.
Yeah.
And you had it and you played it and then you just kind of stopped playing it.
Right.
And got rid of it. So I was like, yeah, I guess Trio kind of had his fill with VR and maybe realized it's not really a long-term thing. Got rid of it. I get it. Mm-hmm. But then when you got the PSVR 2, I was like,
so the thing that
it just didn't, I'm like,
right,
interesting.
no, and that makes sense. I guess the thing that really won me over when I was looking at their, like, Oculus doesn't have a lot of games, like a ton of like really in-depth games, whereas that you can get on PSVR. Like No Man's Sky doesn't run on Oculus. You can't get like Skyrim VR and all that stuff. But then that's the issue. You start running into PSVR 2. We talked about this. PSVR 1 games aren't compatible.
Right.
And I was looking into why that might be. And I guess the camera was very integral to PSVR 1, like the eye camera. That's how it would track you. And like that might cause issues when trying to just port it. But I'm like, aren't there versions of this that like are on Steam that don't use that use like the headset and stuff like that? So I don't know how much of an issue that would be. But Gooch, I will say this kind of soured me pretty heavily right now. I might try and mess with it more tomorrow, or I might just send it back. I don't know. It really was a sad moment because I was actually really excited to get home yesterday and throw it on and play some Resident Evil in VR for like 3 hours. Because again, it feels really nice. Like I gotta say, form factor wise and just how it plays is great. So, yeah.
We'll definitely have to look forward to an update and see if you can get it working or what you decide to do. Yeah. What have I been playing and watching?
Let's hear.
Almost at the end of Superman and Lois, the final season.
Fantastic.
The final DC show on the CW. You know, as of now, the finale has happened, so I've been catching up. But I'm really enjoying it. They did like a death of Superman arc, and then obviously Superman comes back.
Right.
I don't really think that's a big spoiler.
No.
It happens at the beginning of the season, and Michael Cutlett's as Lex Luthor, dude. I love it.
I've heard good things.
He does like a much more brutalist kind of pugilist kind of Lex Luthor, like a much more like physically intimidating Lex Luthor. I would say much more of a businessman than like a scientist. I mean, there's still like science elements to it, but like he's been in jail for 13 years. He gets put in there by Lois Lane, so he comes back and he's like getting revenge now. Also, he has a daughter. That's causing a lot of consternation and of like, you know, the fact that he was taken from his daughter, and that's like all he's trying to like find his daughter. But his daughter is like off the grid kind of thing. So that's kind of where it is. And Lex is like trying to establish, like he's trying to like get back at Lois and Superman. So he's like set up base in Smallville. He's trying to like buy property and essentially like build a LexCorp there to like
shit on
havoc.
it. Yeah.
And that's sort of where it is. And Smallville begins to find out about who Superman really is because he gets killed in like the middle of the town, and people see, and they see Lois and her kids like kind of go to him, and people are kind of putting two and two together.
Wait.
and it seems like, you know, like there's like an altercation in like the town diner, and like the guy thinks he's Superman and tries to shoot him, and he like lets the bullet hit him and reveals himself to these people, and they kind of like they all know Clark,
Right, of course.
so it's not really like he's not like stranger, like they know this guy. You know, small town, everyone kind of knows each other, and they choose to like keep, like at first, like it seems like they're gonna keep a secret hush hush, but he decides to go national and reveal who he is.
That makes sense, especially with this being like the last season, right?
And it's interesting. I gotta admit, Tyler Hoechlin's Superman is like very good. It's very different. Like we're seeing a Superman family man, not just like a superhero. He's like a much more different character with different stakes. Yeah, and I really enjoy it. You know, it's going to be interesting to compare this being the most recent version of Superman to David Corningsweet's version.
Cornsweat's.
Whatever.
Corning Sweat was tough.
Corning. Well,
You said Corn
Sweat.
Corn Sweat. Corn Sweat.
I said Corning.
You said Corning Sweat.
Yeah. Corn Sweat. Whatever.
Get it? It's like Brandon Fraser. You gotta respect the actor's name.
Oh, I don't. He hasn't earned that yet.
I thought you were saying. Okay, yeah.
No, Brendan Fraser earned it.
Right. Yeah.
David, no.
Yeah. Superman trailer this week.
Yeah, supposedly.
I mean, it seemed I like am very confident. Like apparently the presser has gone out. Like they are showing it to the presser, and like it'll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it seems pretty solid.
And speaking of Superman, Creature Commandos has started. That's our first entry into the DCU. I watched the first 3 episodes yesterday and or 2 days ago, and I really, really enjoyed it. I have to admit though, James Gunn has to stop it with these teams. I'm kind of sick of it. We've had the Guardians, we've had Suicide Squad, we've had Creature Commandos. He's done this misfit team thing like a bit too many times. So I hope after Creature Commandos he decides to fuck off with that kind of shit. Like it just seems, I'm like, it's a bit played out, man. It's good. I'm enjoying it. I like the characters so far. Each episode is kind of going into each one. Like this episode is about the Bride.
Right.
The third episode's about G.I. Robot.
Yeah, I've only watched the first 2. I haven't gotten to the third yet.
Yeah. And I like
know the
it.
fourth is
I
about
like
Weasel
it, but
too,
it's like,
yeah.
all right, dude.
Well, and I know he will.
Before.
And I know he even said in an interview, like he started writing. This was written before he got the job as like the DCU like studio head. This was just happened to be something in animation he was working on first. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that makes sense to me and why he'd maybe go the same route again. I don't know. That in and of itself does not bother me as long as the show is good. I do, hope, and he said this in interviews in Superman, that he very much focuses on Clark and Lois like he says he's going to, like they are the center of the story. But I really enjoyed it as well. I think the animation is fantastic.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
phosphorus and flag fight was really good.
Yeah.
I liked that they explained right off the bat the Rick Flag and father like age gap. So they're
Yeah,
only
so it
14 years apart in real life. He is Frank Grillo is 14 years older than Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah. I mean, so it seems like Suicide Squad and Peacemaker are canon to
Right.
the DCU.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're making another season of Peacemaker, so
And you know what? For the people being like, "Oh, is he making his own stuff canon?" Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Why would he made it? Why wouldn't you? Like, I don't know.
Right.
Like
right.
I like
he can
fuck off.
he can make it work.
Yeah,
right.
and if he starts fucking up and making bad content, I'll maybe turn around on it. But I really enjoyed it as well, Gooch. I like how horror oriented it is and how adult it is. I did not expect it to be that adult.
with like the
and
sex
getting some
and stuff.
weird shit, even like monster sex stuff, even. So like, very odd and interesting show. I like it a lot. I'm excited to get to the next episode. I'm watching the GI Robot one is the third one, like you're saying. I think the Weasel one is going to be the fourth.
Yeah.
And then I'm curious to see where they go from there. Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus. He is always good in whatever I feel like I watch him in. So I
Alan
did really enjoy
Tudyk
him.
is a voiceover pro.
Yeah.
And lastly, for the watching, Baby Driver, BABY Baby. I liked it.
It's fine.
I liked it, but I'm like, I didn't feel like super connected to it or like that it was like really good. Like I enjoyed it. I think it's funny, like it's a movie about music. It's basically a kid who is a driver for robberies, and his whole stick is like he wears sunglasses and listens to music while he drives. So like that's
because he has like an inner ear thing, right?
he has like
So,
tinnitus. Yeah. He was in an accident, and he uses music to block out the sound. Yeah, and I like it, but it's like the music. I'm like, I've never heard any of these songs. Like even the Queen song they used, I'm like, I've never heard of that Queen song. So I think like the music not resonating with me, although I found it cool and interesting, and how they used like the beat of the music to kind of go with the action or the drama was cool. But like the fact that the music didn't resonate with me and I didn't know it, like I think kind of took away from it.
Yeah.
But me and my girlfriend were figuring out what to watch, and she was like, "Oh, I've seen that. I love it." I'm like, I've been trying to watch that for like years now, so I'm glad to check it off the list. Pretty good. Not a low quality movie whatsoever. But, it's funny, like, that was Kevin Spacey's, like, last movie. And Ansel Elgort has kind of been off the radar since then.
And that's the third of I don't even know what this term really means, but, like, the Cornetto trilogy that Edgar Wright did, like, it was that, Hot Fuzz, and then, what is it, World's End or something? It's just not even my favorite, like, Edgar Wright movie. Like, Hot Fuzz is so good, and Shaun of the Dead, like, come on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with you, though.
But I've been playing Stalker 2. I think the last podcast we did, I just started playing it, but I'm really enjoying it from the gameplay aspect. I love the survival aspect, sort of like, kind of finding out a loadout that works, that you have low weight, so you can go out in the world and pick stuff up, bring stuff back, and sell it. But kind of like managing your equipment load. I think this game is really about the gameplay. Also finding out like the anomalies in the world and sort of the weirdness. Like, I feel like there's a lot of mutants in the game and enemies, but like it's not really about like the action of it. Of course, you're fighting people and you're fighting different kind of mutants that are pretty interesting to encounter, but like, like if I encounter a mutant in the open world, like there's actually no point of me fighting it because they don't drop anything.
There's
so
no
like, sometimes it ends up being like, I'm not going to waste my ammo. I'm just going to sprint past these things.
Right.
Humans, on the other hand, you can loot and stuff. So like fighting them does have a benefit, but I am liking the gameplay loop of it. The story is pretty interesting. I'm still kind of figuring it out. I feel a bit lost, but I feel like if I was a Stalker fan, I would have much more context for the factions.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of piecing that together. I'm curious. I'm like, we'll definitely review it at some point. I think it's pretty long. But like, again, from a story standpoint, I'm like, do we wait until we beat it? Like, I feel like maybe we should get deeper into it, but like not beat it and then review it. Cause I'm like, I'm not sure if the story is necessarily going to matter at the end of the day, but we'll see. Yeah. Still working on it. Like I said, a lot's been going on. I had a death in my family. I haven't had a lot of time to play games in the last 2 weeks, and I have 4 or 6 games that I'm playing. So it's been like kind of tough.
There's a lot, man.
I've also been playing Tomb Raider 2. I finished that up. I like briefly went over this last week when I was talking about the adventures of Lara Croft. Yeah, Tomb Raider 2 is like more Tomb Raider, but with like a little bit more additions to gameplay. So you can like crawl up ladders now and stuff. And there's a bit more action in it. Like you're killing a lot of people in this game as opposed to in the first game you were killing a lot of animals and creatures. But in this you're killing people. Basically the story is there's this Italian gang that is, or like I'll call cult, that is like trying to like use this dagger to resurrect this dragon creature thing, and you're pretty much like you're going after the cult that brings you to an oil rig, which leads you to an underwater wreck, which leads you to a part of the Tibetan mountains, and then you go to like this mystical Chinese kind of hidden sanctuary thing. So yeah, you're getting all your locations, but it's a classic Tomb Raider game. There again, a few additions to gameplay, but it is fucking long. I will admit, I feel like these Tomb Raider classic games, I really need to take them in stride. Like I can't jump from like one game to the next.
Right.
They definitely feel a bit.
How old is that game?
Probably like 96, maybe 95. Yeah, so like once I put it has like an expansion, not a DLC, if you will. So I finished that and I was like done.
Right.
Like I got to put this down.
Let's take a break for a moment.
Like the formula, but yeah, again, I think Tomb Raider 2 entirely too long. There's like probably good for back then, but I was
gonna
just
say,
holy shit, like this game's not fucking ending.
Overstayed its welcome.
Yeah, the pacing of some of the levels were a bit weird. Like the first few levels are kind of short, and then it just gets like longer and longer.
Sure.
But again, enjoyed my time with it. I've been playing Final Fantasy IV, the Pixel Remaster as well. This is one of my favorite classic Final Fantasy games. It's one of the first Final Fantasy games with a story. You play as Cecil, who is a Dark Knight who's kind of doing some nefarious acts for the king he's under, and he starts questioning things. And that's kind of where his path to redemption begins, and he goes on this adventure, finds companions, children being some of those companions. There are 3 kids in this game, like literally like 6-year-olds.
Children,
yeah.
Good stuff.
There's a lot of this is the first Final Fantasy without roles, so like Cecil's a Dark Knight, and then he becomes a paladin later. Kane is your dragoon, and he stays a dragoon. He's only a dragoon. Whereas the other older Final Fantasies, you're pick and choosing your classes like at any time. You can kind of switch stuff. And this is the only Final Fantasy that has 5 playable characters at the same time on a team. But characters are constantly rotating. So like a lot of people
by choice, or like it's just by game, like it just
no
happens?
Characters are either dying or leaving the party.
Gotcha.
And like it's pretty interesting. Like you have like people that are kind of rotating in and out, and then people die and then come back, and it's pretty interesting. Like replaying it, the dungeons are much more dungeony in this game. Like you're doing a lot of dungeon crawling, and it is difficult. 1, 2, and 3 were pretty manageable, especially for me at this time with like my Final Fantasy knowledge. But 4 is definitely pretty difficult, even still. I played I played the DS remake for this, so I've never played like this original version of it. So it's been cool to kind of go through and replay this game that I really like, and I really like the characters. I'm like almost through it, but yeah, having a great time. And in the same vein, a new game, Fantasia Neo Dimension. This is from Hironobu Sakaguchi, father of Final Fantasy. He did most of the original Final Fantasy games, I think up until 8 or 9, and then he left. So he's done Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon. He's done a lot of like spin-off his own projects, but Fantasia Neo Dimension was an Apple Arcade exclusive, so it's been ported to console. It's Sakaguchi and Nobuo Uematsu, who is the composer behind like most of the Final Fantasy soundtrack. This is his last game actually, before he retires.
Oh, completely. Like
he's done with games.
Got it.
He's old though, so he's definitely like phasing out of his career at this point. But it's really good. It kind of starts with a character named Leo. He has amnesia, and you're kind of like finding characters and trying to piece your story. I'm still pretty early on. There's this infestation called bacteria, and it's like a mechanical sort of like infestation, like a plague kind of thing. And there's this god behind it. I'm still pretty early on, so I don't really have too much to say on the story. It is turn-based, and I think this really cool thing that I think like would make the game more interesting. They do turn-based a little bit differently in how you encounter encounters. Instead, they have this thing. It's called the dimension, like Dimension or something like that. So instead of just like you're walking, you hit an encounter, you fight, you end, you do the same thing. Right. You can actually stock up encounters up to 30 enemies. So instead of just going into combat, you can your meter will fill, and then once it fills, or you want to fight those monsters, you do it, and you're fighting like up to 30 monsters at the same time. And the game kind of works in like there's a lot of AoE stuff, and some characters can like arc spells to where they can curve around and come back, so you're kind of hitting more things. So it's like 30 monsters is manageable. And I think it's really cool because we've never really seen turn-based kind of do this. So I think it's like really innovative, and like, again, turn-based can only be so much. So I feel like it's kind of doing a little bit of things differently in terms of that. So I've been really enjoying the gameplay. We've been playing Marvel Rivals.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I'm having a great fucking time, man.
It is a lot of fun. It really is. It's my first hero shooter, so that's been interesting. What are you thinking so far as a veteran, though?
Yeah, it's much better than Overwatch, in my opinion.
Okay.
I love it. I've sunk, I would say, 20 plus hours within a week. I love the characters. Huge roster of characters.
People.
Yeah,
that's
both,
fucking wild.
Both very known and very unknown.
Yeah.
So I feel like they have a balance of like, okay,
really
we
good
have
gambit.
Cloak and Dagger, Iron Man, and Luna Snow. Like, two characters you probably don't know, and then like obviously Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Black
your
Widow.
mains. I think literally every single main Avenger is in it, right? I can't think of one that's
pretty
missing.
Much. Yeah, like especially like
there's Thor.
Avengers 1.
Like that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like classic Avengers. Yeah, so I mean everyone's in there. I mean Doctor Strange is in there. Moon Knight looks great. The art design is fantastic. Everyone looks like they could fuck you up. It's great stuff. I really am enjoying it. I do need to get in and play more. I've said this before. You guys were joking with me in the Discord, being like R.I.P. to Trio's Marvel Rivals career, and I'm like, dude, multiplayer games in general, even like Call of Duty, like they just fall to the back automatically for some reason for me. Like
we've been getting a lot of people from the DNN community in the Discord playing between all consoles, which is great.
It's been a lot of fun.
I'm playing on PC.
I'm on the Xbox.
Yeah, so it's been cool to kind of do that crossplay and kind of jump in with people. Like I've only played alone once.
Yeah, I tried playing alone once, and I did not have a lot of fun because I just felt like I was trying to play healer. I was playing Adam Warlock, and I was just everyone was fucking up. We were all the communication really is key. Like we're going in there one at a time, so we're just getting killed. Killed. No one's stacking.
Yeah. And yeah, sometimes your team isn't going to be on comm, so hard to coordinate. But yeah, we're looking to review it towards the end of season 0.
Yeah.
Like just to give us enough time to sort of marinate on things. Like I am finding some negatives. Like I don't love like the Clintar map, the symbiote one. And I played like the arcade mode, which is like a kill confirmed from Call of Duty. It's called Conquest, and it's basically like you kill people and you pick up a thing. And I'm like, this game mode kind of sucks.
Right.
I feel like the hero shooters are really built for those objective based game modes where you're like pushing a point or you're pushing something and kind of moving.
Right. Like very objective based.
Just the
not
team
just
deathmatch, I feel like just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
I
think it's still good to have in there though for people who want it. You know what I mean? Whereas like that shouldn't take. It was kind of like how when Halo started, like it's just like you don't have a Slayer. Like what are we doing here? Yeah.
Yeah, just a Slayer game mode. And last but certainly not least, Trio, my journey with Kingdom Come Deliverance has ended. I finished my hardcore playthrough.
Praise Jesus.
What?
Praise Jesus Christ.
Yeah, praise Christ.
Yeah, praise Christ.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Damn. This was a tough game to finish. That hardcore mode ended up being a bit more not difficult, but time investing than I thought. So
I mean, you're traveling everywhere, right?
I was doing a speed run and I was following that, and then I got to the monastery. And this is the point in the game where you actually have to learn how to read. So the game So, but I will assume Henry will know how to read in the second game default because you have
Because
to
you
learn,
have to, yeah,
learn
yeah.
how to read to get in the monastery. So I have to do an achievement where I have to build Privoslavets without reading. So I had to stop there and figure out, okay, well now I have to amass a shit ton of money with very low level and like in a very probably non traditional way. So what I was doing was, if you go back to Skalitz, you'll see like guards or cumans or bandits fighting traders or fighting guards or whatever. So basically, once they're done fighting, and if the guards win, I'll loot everybody and go sell it. So I was just doing this for a few hours. I actually brought my backbone to work, and during some downtime, I was playing it. Great to bring back the backbone.
Were you streaming it from your Xbox?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a cool use of it because it was like, very monotonous stuff. And so when I had some downtime, I was like, yeah, why not? I'm like, this makes sense, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then once I did that, rebuilt Privoslavets, was making money out the wazoo. Privoslavets was bringing me income. And then once I finished that, I went back and finished. The last fight is actually really difficult, the one in Talmberg, when you like literally like the last encounter when you go to save Radzig. Because your guards die really quick, and then you have Hans and Robarb who are unkillable, but then there's like 4 guards just smacking them away. So you have to like go up, like punch a guard, bring them away, and just kind of wait for them to like whittle the guards down. I was like, holy shit, man.
Dude, that sounds like hell.
And I like at first I was like, fuck, dude, this is gonna be impossible. And I think with a combination of luck and patience, I figured it out. And I was
good.
then able to finish the game, and here we are. I was like, all 4 achievements popped. Merciful, no kills. Or merciful being no kills, hardcore virgin playthrough, and doing hardcore with all the negative traits.
That's funny.
And I was like, fuck yeah, I did it. It took like 200 plus hours.
Yeah, that sounds
the
like
entire summer, entire fall, leading up till now.
And that's including all the trophies, right? Not just this last playthrough, you're saying?
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But that still sounds like
I'm
hell.
ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready for Kutenberg and
I am too, man. It looks. I was looking up gameplay and stuff. It does just look like a tighter, better version of the first game, and that's great. And a lot, So they dumbed down the combat a little bit. Did you see? There's only 4 There's only 4 ways to slash now instead of like however. There's
6,
yeah,
right?
I think so.
Like
So they
up, down, left, right, and then the middle.
and I think it changes based on like certain weapons that you're using, like the scheme.
Okay,
So it's cool.
I'm gonna go back and rewatch the trailers now that I have all the context.
Same, yeah.
Finishing and really understanding that. But we know why you guys are here.
Right.
Let's talk about the Game Awards. Let's get into
Game Awards.
our winners. But firstly, Trio, what did you think about the Game Awards this year?
So Gooch, the Game Awards this year has a lot of the same problems that I always have with it.
Too
Main
long.
one being length. Yeah. You could say them all for me. So I'll just preface that. I think there was a lot of great stuff on either end of it. The middle was pretty boring for me. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good year. I enjoyed it. I felt like they addressed a lot of the issues that they ran into last year. My apologies. They didn't like play anyone off stage. There wasn't anyone on there giving super long speeches. There were some weird bits that went on for way too long here and there where I'm like
what?
Like the puppets. I'm like,
I thought that was funny.
I
thought the Muppet, I forget what their names are, but the Muppets that are up in the rafters.
I
you know?
appreciate the self-deprecation by Jeff. Absolutely. It was
Yeah,
more just,
yeah.
that's just, I actually
The
don't think
Kojima
necessarily.
jokes were
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Like maybe not necessarily that bit specifically, but like maybe there were a few other moments where I'm like, okay. And then, you get the Truman Show moments of like this award presented by Old Spice or something every 5 seconds, which, that's part of the thing for a show. So I'm not going to take away points for that by any means, but I think I really did enjoy it overall. There were some really, really great reveals that kind of break a rule that I have, I will say, where it's how early are we announcing this? Like, when is this coming out? Especially
like
with the last,
Intergalactic.
yeah, especially with
it's like,
Intergalactic. I'm
okay.
like, when is this coming? I
knows?
trust you, and like, I think this could be very good, but I would like a little bit more. But overall, Gooch, I think I did very much enjoy it. What about you?
I was a bit down on the awards this year. I think it was the games. I think while having a lot of great games, I feel like there were a lot of games I didn't play and didn't have a big of opinion on. So
For sure.
the
I agree with
stakes
that.
for me in
Yeah.
terms of who winning were not as high. I didn't really care at the end of the day. who won a lot of the awards. I thought a lot of the reveals, while we had some good ones like Intergalactic and Witcher 4 and Onimusha, Split Fiction from Joseph Ferris and Hazelight, I thought there were a lot of games that like Onimusha was like, cool, Onimusha's coming back, but like this looks like every feudal Japan samurai game we've seen the last 4 years. I don't know what to tell the difference. Oh, here's another anime game that looks like Genshin Impact. Like
that's where it
these
starts
are all
losing.
blurring together, and I couldn't tell you which way from Sunday is what, you know, and like that kind of bothers me. And it's like, I get it. Jeff doesn't control what games are coming out and who's making what, but he's going to try and include as much as he can. It's just a shame developers are all kind of making similar games.
That's the middle part where I was like, okay, let's move. Is this the same game? Oh no, it's a different game. Okay.
Right.
I don't think Onimusha is an example of that for me, but it was the anime ones especially where I was like, oh, this is a different game? Okay, let's continue. But I'm sorry, continue.
No, I mean, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Let's get into the awards.
Awesome.
We're going to go over them all. The ones we don't have opinions on, I'm just going to category, say the winner, move on, like the esports one. Best esports team, T1. That was the winner. Winner of the best esports athlete, Faker. Best esports game, League of Legends. Content creator of the year, Queso. Most anticipated game, we had Death Stranding 2 on the beach, Ghost of Yote, GTA 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds up for the award. Of course, as we predicted, GTA 6. Trio, do you have much to say on that?
Give me an now, Rockstar. That's it. They're holding off that trailer. Oh, I want it so bad. But continue.
Yeah, and of course we didn't get GTA 6.
No, of course
there.
not.
We knew
I wasn't expecting that at all.
We didn't get a lot of our predictions though. I mean, I like Fable not being there. Like, I really thought that was like a guarantee. I thought Death Stranding 2 was absolutely a guarantee.
I agree.
I actually would predict that Death Stranding 2 is a bit behind. Because I know Kojima said, I wanted to announce the date at the Tokyo Game Show. I wasn't able to do that.
For some reason or another,
think
right?
that the Game Awards, where he always has some announcement, usually he would do it there, but no, nothing. And he was like, sorry, I was just there to present. Oops. You know, it is what it is. It's fine. Yeah. I'm not worried, but, you know, it is
did
supposedly
feel like an easy
out.
Call, though. I agree. Like, you were like, done. Like, no problem. Right. So that's surprising.
Next up, we had Best Adaptation. We had Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, and Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. The winner, Fallout, as we definitely predicted. Best Multiplayer Game, Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2. The winner there was Helldivers. I think we were... I know I had talked about Space Marine 2 because of that unique multiplayer experience. I'm not sure what you voted for. Or
I want to say that I did Helldivers, but I really don't know, to be honest.
I think Helldivers makes sense. Again,
very worthy.
It's the game on here that made the impact that was multiplayer. You know, I
mean, dude, that was everywhere for a moment. Like, it was. I feel like people almost forget how big that game was for the time.
And they also revealed, I think it was like, you know, when we were watching it, with the group, I was like, well, thank God we're getting more Helldivers too, because I feel like they haven't announced a big thing in a while.
People have been waiting for these Illuminids for a while, and they look cool. It made me almost want to jump back in, but I don't have PS Plus right now. I don't want to. Listen, Gooch, can I give you a hot take really quick here?
Go for it.
It is insane that I have to pay a service to access the internet from the box that I already bought from the plate. Like, I know you
I don't think it's a hot take. It's like an old issue.
No, you're right. I should say it's not a hot take at all. It's more just like, I do think it's wild that I just even, like, that's where Xbox especially gets you. It's like, it's $10 for live, and then it's $20 for Game Pass. And it's like, well, why would I not just pay the $20? And I get that that's their thing, but yeah, it annoys the shit out of me.
Next up, we have Best Sports and Racing Game. The winner there being EA Sports FC 25. Best Sim Strategy Game. The winner being Frostpunk 2. The Best Family Game. We have our nominees being Princess Peach Showtime, Astrobot, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Scryer. This, of course, begins Astrobot's sweep of every award they were nominated for, I'm pretty sure. Astrobot winning Best Family Game. Best Fighting Game, our winner was Tekken 8. Best RPG, our nominees were Dragon's Dogma 2, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor ReFantazio, that being the winner. And let's just talk about how, our big conversation in the predictions was Shadow of the Erdtree's inclusion. I'm very thankful to say we don't have to talk about that because Shadow of the Erdtree won nothing.
But I will say, still stupid it's in there.
I think that tells you exactly that everyone thought the same thing as we did. That it shouldn't be included.
What, all the the jury?
When it came down to the final vote, yes.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like they read the room, hopefully.
They read the room, but they're also like, hey, yeah, I played Shadow of the Erdtree this year. That's why I nominated it. But again, it shouldn't deserve it. Like, I think when it really came down to the T, I think most of the people, not just fans, the people who, vote for these were like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. I
agree with you. I still do think on principle, it's really fucked up that it's in there at all. Because that takes away a spot for someone else who could have gotten some recognition. So I don't know. But I totally agree. That was a very big relief, in my opinion.
Metaphor ReFantazio did win some other awards that night. Trio, are you interested in jumping in because of it's winning a bunch of awards? I know we've talked about Persona a lot. We know it's as non-Persona players, we know how good of a series it is.
Absolutely.
And hey, you can just jump into Metaphor on its own. Like, is that enticing? On top of it, it's winning awards.
So that in and of itself makes so. Let me preface this. I still probably won't play this, but that in and of itself makes it the most enticing to me for sure. Like, it seems like the most optimal place to jump into something and experience that type of game. I don't know, man. Maybe one day I'll get to these games and get to Persona and try and explore that, because I don't know. I've tried random weird games that I don't think I might like and end up. What'd you say?
Nier.
Yeah, Nier. Absolutely.
I remember when Trio was like, I played Nier Automata. I was like, what?
And I tried that
That's
again.
Not a Trio game.
I played like the opening and I didn't get past that. So that will happen sometimes. But I definitely want to give it maybe at least a shot sooner or later, and I think I will. But in the immediate time frame, probably not.
I think I said this during the predictions. I was gonna throw it on my Christmas list, but I'm like, there's way too many games.
Right.
Like, I need to finish stuff.
And dude, we don't have that much. Like, February is when things start back up again.
Yeah,
like it's kind of wild, actually.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, not a lot of time.
No,
never a lot of time.
No.
Next up, we have Best Action and Adventure Game. Astrobot being our winner. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and Echo of Wisdom. Again, Astrobot sort of taking it home. Any upset there? Because I know Outlaws is in there, and Trio, I know you voted for it there.
No, that was expected. I know. I really enjoyed Outlaws. I will do the Bernie meme again. I implore you to go. I'm once again asking you to play Star Wars Outlaws. But no, I think that's deserving for sure.
Thanks, Bernie. Yeah. Best action game. Our nominees are Black Myth Wukong, which was the winner. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Space Marine 2. I was hoping Stellar Blade. I think that was kind of the standout for me here.
Same.
But Black Myth Wukong took that home. Great for that game. It's one of the first big games to come out of China, which is pretty interesting in and of itself.
It is.
We're gonna once we get to the game of the year, we're gonna have to talk about Sven Vinke's little speech.
Which one's Sven Vinke?
He's the
Was he the guy
CEO
that
of Larian?
Oh yeah.
And I have to rewatch that speech, but he was like really making like a statement about games being made, and it's like, look what we did, but like look at the machine pumping out stuff and making money, and we did that, and we didn't do that.
Yeah, and we did it this way. We did it the right way.
Right. Yeah. We'll have to go back to that. Best VR and AR game: Batman Arkham Shadow. Is that on PSVR too?
It's an Oculus exclusive.
Lame.
But then again, so I was looking up the Oculus like games, and there's just like that's the only thing majorly on there, unless you want to hook it up to your computer and you need a beefy computer that can run your Oculus.
The winner of Best Mobile Game, Debut Indie, and Best Independent Game goes to Balatro. Again, another game that I'm like, I really want to pick up. I've heard a lot about this game. I know it's $15. I know it's small, but I have a lot on my plate.
It's made by a single gentleman, apparently.
Yeah.
That's one on there where like we said it in the predictions episode. I was like, Balatro, interesting. That feels like it's on a very different playing field than these. But at the same time, I'd take 1,000 Balatros over Shadow of the Erdtree being nominated for that. So
I'm excited to talk about Game of the Year from something you just mentioned, but I'll hold it off. Best Community Game. Best Community Support. We had Baldur's Gate 3, which was our winner. Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky. Last year, Phantom Liberty or Cyberpunk won. So I think this is kind of a similar thing where the single player game, because of the community evolved around that game, and then Larian supporting it so much, we're getting like our final update. Crossplay is finally coming. We're getting more subclasses. Like I think Larian has done a great job with supporting this game before they move on to their next project. I mean, I'm sure they're working on whatever their next thing is, but
I know you don't believe me, Gooch, but I will finish Baldur's Gate eventually.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Best ongoing game nominees are Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2 being the winner. Games for Impact, the winner was Neva. Innovation and Accessibility was Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Funny thing about that award, that team got disbanded.
It's apparently a very good game, too.
Yeah, and it didn't sell well.
I was thinking about picking it up on Amazon. It was on sale for like $20, and I just held it again.
And I was just like, it's weird that there's devs on the stage who are part of a studio that got dissolved like a few weeks ago.
A little sad.
And it was, Jeff did. There were two things that happened at the Game Awards this year. One being a Game Changer award that was given to a person who sort of created a lot of resources and community around devs who gotten laid off, which was, I think, great to sort of, again, I think Jeff walks a really weird line. It's like, how do I talk about like the shitty things going on in the industry with like without being too verbose, but
I did hate the way that was presented though. Because like they did present him as like this little indie YouTube channel guy,
and
he
works
like for Tencent. Like,
yeah.
But by the way, that doesn't take away all the people he actually apparently did help. So I think there's a bit of like a silver lining to this. But I did not appreciate how he was presented as this kind of small time little YouTuber dude that was helping people when he works for this major company.
Right.
But again, that doesn't take away that he was helping these people.
Right. It does seem like genuine, but again, it's like he actually works for like one of the biggest
video game companies.
Yeah. So it's like he's giving back, but it's like, no, he's like in the
machine.
Yeah, he's in the machine.
So that's the thing I didn't appreciate.
It's not like a little innocent guy just trying to help. Like,
right.
Yeah. I mean, great for him, but yeah. Best performances, we have Hannah Tell as Max Caulfield in Life is Strange Double Exposure. Brianna White is Aerith in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Humberly Gonzalez is Kay Vess in Star Wars Outlaws. Luke Roberts, who was absolutely fucking robbed as
God, now you're making me forget.
James Sunderland in Silent Hill 2. And our winner, which was the biggest eye roll of the night. I mean, I thought every award Hellblade 2 won was an absolute eye roll. Melina Juergens as Senua from Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 didn't deserve that. Her performance was just as good as it was in the first one and nothing more. I don't think it was any like, I didn't
They
think
only
that was
gave her that
deserving.
because it's basically a TV show. It's basically a movie you're playing. Like there's not, and I think it is absolute bullshit. Yeah, dude.
And
that annoys me about Luke
Hellblade 2
Roberts.
also won Best Audio Design, but nominees were Astrobot. So wait, I was wrong. Astrobot didn't win every category.
Almost. It's still
Black Ops 6, Rebirth, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2. I thought Silent Hill 2 got kind of robbed of this award.
Easily
Again,
did.
I don't think Hellblade 2 did exactly what it did in the last game. Nothing more, nothing less. We've had it before. I think Silent Hill 2 really showed a difference in what you can do with a remake with a game like that.
I'd almost call Hellblade 2 more of an experience than a game, too. Even Hellblade, like, it's like, I guess it is very, it's just, I don't know. This does just feel so so disconnected. No one played that game. It did not review that. Did it review well?
No.
Yeah, like that's
No,
so, like,
people didn't like it.
That's
so
what-
how is it winning game awards? You know,
ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And again, these awards are meaningless, but ridiculous.
Best score in music: Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade. Up for that award, the winner was Rebirth. Okay, fine.
I would have rather seen Stellar Blade, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It was just like, hey, we've had the remake soundtrack before. We're going to get more of it in the next one. How is this winning again? We've had this before. I don't get it.
Right.
Not saying that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth music's bad. It's great, but there's a more original awards in there. Even Astrobot, I think, is a bit more of rewarding of that.
Right.
Than
Deserving.
Rebirth.
Yeah.
Best art direction: Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor ReFantazio, and Neva. Our winner was Metaphor. Best narrative: we had Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. Metaphor ReFantazio won that as well. And our last 2 awards, Best Game Direction, our winner was Astrobot. Also in the nominees were Balatro, Black with Wukong, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. And Trio, any comments to the game direction?
No, well deserved.
Yeah, I think Astrobot's game direction is pretty good.
It is. I completely
pretty tight.
I would say great, even honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we would be kind of reiterating some of our prediction stuff. I think I did vote Astrobot because I really thought about it and I was like, yeah, it has great game direction. I think that game, like everything it does, is like really tight and really well
and really thought out. It feels, yeah, for sure.
And that's why it won Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Our nominees were Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio.
Why is the F in ReFantazio capitalized?
Because it's Japanese. Why not?
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. First, going back to Sven Vinke's comments, it was just really interesting that he decided to put the entire video game machine on blast like that.
And he can, because he's right. They made an incredibly successful, well planned out and well thought out game that did fantastic. It made gangbusters. So he can do that, which is it's so good. You're right. But it's funny. I'm trying to even remember more of his speech because, like, now that you're talking about it,
I gotta go back and listen to it. I haven't had time during the weekend. Some people were thinking he was calling out Black Myth Wukong specifically. I think because of its Chinese ties.
So apparently, I saw a lot of peers talking in like a video. Like they were crying, the dev team when they lost Black Myth. Like they were like they were pretty upset.
Really?
Yeah. Like, and I don't think they were like being like it was, and I think
That's
it's fair.
Weird.
But like, and
I mean,
Alana was talking about. I guess she was sitting next to like.
Well, Sorry, I mean.
No, you're fine. She was sitting next to like I guess the PlayStation team because she was
on Ragnarok,
right?
yeah.
But then she doesn't work there anymore as of recent. And she was talking, and she didn't seem like she said she'd seen that before, like with other devs and stuff. Like they're sad, they're expected, they might really think they're gonna win, and they were excited. But yeah, I don't know. I think Black Myth I would have been fine with if it won. But that would make sense to me that he would have been maybe calling them out specifically. And I feel bad for that team specifically because they're just kind of a cog in the machine of Greater Tencent. Are they part of Tencent?
I don't know.
Even still, like, they're just a kind of greater, they're a cog of this greater machine that is like, I don't even know what, Chinese game development. And that's not really on them. They made a really great game. But I think Astrobot, I felt really good about that, actually,
Yeah, let me see. Hold on.
Yeah, you're good.
Science.
It did surprise me a little bit. I gotta say though, I don't know.
Astrobot won?
Yeah, not in a bad way.
Surprising and not surprising all at the same time.
I agree. Yeah, that's it's weird to say, but I did feel that way. I was like, you know what, man, I'm totally taking that. They are owned by Tencent.
X Tencent people.
Oh, interesting.
But let me. Okay, wait. So they're X Tencent.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Interesting.
As I just said, and then good. Yeah, as you can tell.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so I thought about it, and again, when we were talking about Astrobot winning, and I was like, it doesn't have the narrative. It doesn't have the narrative. That's why it can't win. It doesn't excel in that category. And I kind of, I took that Game of the Year win. And I was like, holy shit, wow, it's a big moment. I think it's really telling of the gamers in 2024 and what they want. It's clearly not 100-hour RPGs. I think
it's both. Like
no. Yes and no. I think the average gamer, their taste at the moment is a really solid 20 to 40-hour game. I think I think Baldur's Gate was kind of like the last of that moment that was like, hey, great. It's like a 100-hour RPG, and I love that. There's so much content here, yada yada yada. But it's like I don't think that works like every year. I think it takes a really special game to get those accolades, like Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3.
Right, sure.
And I thought about Astrobot's narrative, and I'm like, yeah, it is really unique. I'm like, it does kind of like, especially like the ending with like that last combat and when like Astrobot dies and like how it's really emotional and like it's very nostalgic and like here are all the PS2 characters flying the PS2 and like shooting everything, and it's like they're using nostalgia in a really interesting way, and like again,
doesn't feel cheap.
Yeah, and it's really like original in a weird kind of way. And like no one else is doing that, so like I think it like presents narrative in a very kind of different way that isn't traditional. So when I kind of like maybe like redefined that term, I'm like, yeah, Astrobot is kind of really unique and excels in a way like none of these other games do, which why I think it's rewarding. I still got some thinking to do on my personal game of the year. I'm actually thinking we wait even until the end of January to do our game of the year. I'm like, I need more time with what I'm playing.
Especially indie. Like, I think indie could easily like so far it could easily take my game of the year. I'd have to obviously simmer on that a little bit. But yeah, man, I think it's well deserved. And I can only echo everything that you're saying, especially when it comes to just how well thought out the game was, how much fun it is, how much it does take advantage of those PS2 haptics, and it was just a lot of eye candy, and I cannot disregard that at all. And they seem genuinely happy and excited that like a game like this worked for them. The devs who came up and took the award, they're like, people do want these types of games, especially seeing now Sony has the confidence now to start making more of these games, hopefully, and to lean back into that. Dude, I would love to see a new Jak and Daxter. I would love to see something even beyond Ratchet and Clank. I'm trying to think just something new in that realm, and I think Astrobot, like you're saying, shows that gamers want that. And I think gamers do want those bite-sized things, but I also think there's a lot of like regulars that they don't feel like they get their worth out of a 20-hour game for some reason. They're like, I'm paying $70. I want a game that's going to last me for 100 hours, and I do think that's still a lot of normie thought process when it goes through 2 video games. But I digress. Game of the year, well deserved by Astrobot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to see what Team Asobi does next.
100%.
So let's talk about the announcements. We had the debut trailer for Witcher 4, which of course is being made by CD Projekt Red. Single-player, open-world action RPG starring, of course, Ciri. As we all kind of knew. Oh, no, not that Ciri. She heard me.
What?
On your iPad.
Oh, that's so funny. I forget that.
We did learn a little bit about. We got basically a 6-minute cinematic trailer of Ciri sort of just going on like a typical Witcher contract.
Seems to be how the game starts, as they were saying. Like it seems to represent like what exactly is how the beginning of the game at least.
It looks like some time has passed. I would say 10 to 20 years.
They said 10 years in the article that I read on.
Okay, Geralt is still alive.
Yep.
We didn't get a release date window, but we did learn that the game is being made in Unreal 5, and I think we knew that. I think we knew that Unreal was CD Projekt Red was tossing the Red engine after Cyberpunk 2077 and that whole shitstorm. Trio, what do you think, man? I was really impressed. It sounds like you were too.
I mean, I'm so excited. It's been too long, man. When did Witcher 3 come out?
2015.
No. 2016, I think, actually. That sounds like here.
I think it was 2015 or 16.
Anyways, I'm so excited, man.
Yeah.
I really am. It's been too long. They've been working on Cyberpunk for a long time. Mm-hmm. I'm ecstatic to see that it's The Witcher 4. I'm ecstatic to see that Ciri is going to be the main character. She looks fucking badass. She's gone through the trial of the grasses, right?
I don't know if that's confirmed.
It is. IGN. So did you read that article I sent through on IGN?
No.
It has a lot of info in it. So she did go through the trial of the grasses
Educate
after.
Me.
It's 10 years after.
Yeah.
She's just kind of becoming a monster hunter. She's just been working on becoming a Witcher. That the thing that we see in the cinematic trailer is what kicks off the events that kick off the game. And it's just following her exploits. And
is she in the Wolf School?
And so it didn't mention anything about that. So I did kind of skim it.
She does have like a different looking amulet.
I thought it was her same like cat wolf. What does she have? A wolf medallion in the last one?
No, it's a.
I thought it was a cat one.
I think it's a swallow.
Oh, I thought it was a cat. I might be wrong. Either way, I thought it was her same medallion still that she had from the original games. Yeah, let's see. I thought it was like a different look, like it was a cat.
She doesn't have one. I'm pretty sure she doesn't have one because she's not in a Witcher school.
No, I know, but
she has magic.
The Ciri.
Just look up like Ciri Witcher 3. Witcher 3. You should be able to see if it's on
Yeah,
her.
you're right. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't think it is. But I know her sword's called like Swallow. I'm pretty sure because that's what her name means.
Here I'm still or on the sword. I mean, Witcher 3 Ciri. There we go. Yeah, you're right. So she's not wearing one. I don't know why I remembered her wearing one. It looked like a cat medallion to me.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
But I'm excited, man. I think this makes the most sense. Geralt deserves some rest after his trilogy. They were talking about in the IGN article how they're trying to give you a lot more choice in how Ciri proceeds through this game. Much more choice than you necessarily had with Geralt to like kind of carve out her what's the word, like personality. Right?
Because I think what that means is like, hey, Geralt was a character before this is a game, so we're being true to who
your role
Geralt
playing
is.
as Geralt. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Ciri is a bit more of you.
It's more malleable, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
you can kind of make much more choice of that. I'm sure there's going to be more like romance options and things like that. They were talking about her chain in it that she enchants, and you see it in the trailer.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have much more. I hope Ciri doesn't use signs. I hope she
does.
uses.
That's what she's using in the trailer because
Okay.
she used. And so she's like sucking the electricity out of the water
because she has that magical element to her, and she's like a mage, I guess, so to speak. Or she's like a magic user. Like signs aren't traditional magic in the Witcher universe. So,
but they're Witcher magic, right? That's the idea. Like that's the whole
but
thing.
it's like
but they
very like
basic, right? Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking like whatever Ciri does is a bit more showy and flashy, like that chain thing when she's like ghost riding around the chain and like lights it on fire. Like I'm not sure that's something Geralt would be able to do.
Dude, it looks so cool, man. They said it's going to be a lot more dynamic combat wise. They were talking about how you couldn't really approach things from stealth, and maybe that's going to be more of an option now. And
okay, cool.
I do think that they are exploring a lot more when it comes to this. I don't think they do it, man, but I think there's a chance that there's going to be a first-person mode in it too, especially based off Cyberpunk. Or I don't know, I could see them being like, you know what, this is what Witcher has always been. We're sticking to third-person. That's how it is.
I'm curious if the remake of Witcher 1 is going to come out beforehand. I'm curious if they're thinking about.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would make me replay all of them, I think, actually.
Yeah.
If I could play the first one and then I'd go back and play second.
Yeah, because like the third one it's backwards compatible on Xbox and you can play it on PC. I haven't played that game in a
You can get like a Series X version now and a PS5 version too of Witcher 3.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about Witcher 2.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah. Because I haven't played that game in a while, but I would love to replay the series, and I haven't replayed 3 since I replayed on PC. I would definitely get it on Xbox and kind of experience it there, just to get all the achievements. But yeah, I'm excited.
I'm so pumped. It's been too long. Listen,
I gotta watch season 3 of the show and play the Thronebreaker game that came out, that little spin-off game. I have it. I want to play it.
My one caveat I will put on this is the last new game that CD Projekt Red put out did not release in the most amazing of states. So I think they've earned a lot of our trust back from their updates with Cyberpunk 2 or Cyberpunk 2077. I am excited for what they could do. I think that they are more on top of it. They seem to have a more well thought out process now, especially how they release those things where it's like, this much of our devs are working on this project now. This much of our devs are still working on Cyberpunk, blah, blah, blah. So I have trust in them in that, but I'm still a bit skeptical in that regard. But I have faith, and I am very excited to see what The Witcher 4 brings.
Next up, again, we're not going through all the announcements, just some of the big ones.
Right.
Some of the ones we're interested in. Elden Ring Nightreign, a standalone co-op spin-off of Elden Ring. Trio, you should have been here when that was playing. I was freaking out in the worst way possible.
I can imagine.
I don't like this at all.
Sure.
This is Elden, I really think From has kind of put themselves in a position where every game is a big evolution of what's come before. And I see Elden Ring Nightreign as the definition of a cash grab. Iterating on the co-op functionality of their games, because a lot of people with Elden Ring were like, why is this so obtuse and like ridiculous? Like, I get it. Like, you're kind of being like in lore about it, but like getting into other people's games is ridiculous. I get it. I think it's interesting, and I kind of understand why they're doing a co-op game. But at the same time, it's like asset reuse city, and
Sure.
and Elden Ring has been Souls and all those games have been reusing assets since Demon Souls, so it's not like this is anything new. But like, I'm not excited for this. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. I'm really actually like kind of disappointed. It's going to be set in Limgrave area of Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on all systems, including PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I will say,
it's
not
coming
a
out
lot
in
of
2025.
PS4, Xbox last gen games this time.
Yeah.
I was looking, I was happy to see that. Which, I mean, but listen,
Wait, you were happy to see
that most games were not showing PS4 and
the fact that this is, I think, is.
Oh, sure, but I mean, this. So, listen, my whole take on this is, I don't really care, but this is gonna kick ass. Like, this is gonna do so
What if
well.
it's bad?
It's not going to be. I think it's.
You think?
I really doubt it. So, like, I will say, I think people are going to be thrown off from the beginning because I was.
I
thought
think this
was
could
just
miss.
like a multiple. I don't think it will. Elden Ring's way too popular. Everyone always likes to dive back in. I mean, you saw Pens is a big Elden Ring fanatic. He was excited in our Discord. I don't know. I think it's going to do amazing, and I think that this is just printing money for them. So I kind of understand why they're doing it. Off the bat, though, I don't think the trailer did a good job of conveying how much of a multiplayer game this is and how much of a roguelike it is. And there's literally a circle that encloses on you for 3 days, like a fucking Fortnite style circle. That at the end of it, like you fight a boss. So
Yeah,
I
it's
kind of
like
thought it was
there's
more
like
like a
there's like a
multiplayer
survival element, and you pick like a class,
Right,
and I'm
right.
like,
I don't know.
yeah, dude, I really don't know about this at all.
I
It's
think
3-player co-op, not 4, which I mean,
it's
which is
it's
fine,
very much
but-
intended for co-op, whereas I guess the other ones are like co-op's an afterthought. I think this will hit big with people that enjoy the game for the most part, especially when it comes to streamers and stuff like that. Like, I think this is going to be everywhere. I think this is just going to print money for them. I think a lot of people are going to have a moment of like, oh, I thought this was just like a multiplayer, like kind of campaign. This is like a bit different than I thought, but you know, fuck it. I'm still
all
jumping
down
in.
for different, but I really thought they were going to let Elden Ring rest for a long time. Even if they were going to do a sequel, we were going to get things in between that weren't Elden Ring or.
How big is FromSoft at this point? Like, are they big enough to have a small team? Because this, I don't feel like you need a large team to make
a
something
different team
like
made
this.
Fires of Rubicon.
Right. So, like, I don't think you need a large team. Like, the main team is working on whatever's next, which I don't think is an Elden Ring. I think it's going to be a new Souls-like, I'm assuming. And then you have your small cutoff team that FromSoft is like, yes, make this extra game that's going to print us some money in the meantime, for sure. We have all these assets. People love Elden Ring. Give it a bit of a new spin and put it out there. Am I excited for it? Am I going to buy it? No. But I can, unfortunately or fortunately, see the thought process.
I got to see more.
Yeah.
I really need to see more. There's a chance I could get it. But it's not really speaking to me of what I want from Software.
I agree.
And their experiences.
Yeah, I would agree.
Next up, we have Split Fiction, which is the new game from Hazelight and Joseph Ferris. It's a new co-op game starring two sisters who are aspiring writers and wind up inside a simulation of one of their stories. One of the characters being a sci-fi person, one of them being fantasy person. So when they're trying to escape this simulated world, their worlds are both fantasy and sci-fi, and I loved what I saw.
Dude, it looks awesome.
It's like It Takes Two, like just amped up, you know. It's exactly what that was, but we're gonna do it better, and we're gonna get more creative with it and stuff like that.
You know, I forgot to mention, my girlfriend and I started It Takes Two. Did I mention that on the last one? I can't remember.
I feel like you've mentioned it maybe just to me.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
I don't know on the
Yeah,
podcast.
I see exactly what you're saying with that. I think Hazelight's probably the most successful of those like independent studios that EA has worked with. They've made some really great stuff. What was their first game called again?
Brothers,
which was really fantastic.
Tale
That
of
was
Two Sons. Yeah,
right. Oh, what was the one where they like? Is that the one where they escaped from prison?
that's A Way Out.
Oh, that wasn't their first game? Why did I think that was their first game? Anywho, it looks really good. Some of the dialogue was that classic, like, like, they fly now. Like, I was like, okay. But aside from that, the story and the look of it and the different gameplay mechanics look like a ton of fun, and I'm going to play the shit out of this. I think this is something my girlfriend and I will definitely get through. And, dude, that mechanic that only one person has to buy the game really is fantastic. Do you know about that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think so. For those of you unaware, with Hazelight Studios, their games, only one person has to purchase the game, and then you can play it online with each other. So that is really fantastic with another person who does not own the game. Really fucking cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I am too. I'm curious as a Sifu fan if you found interest in that soccer game they're making.
Yeah.
Which I found pretty interesting. Again, I think it was like just kind of, it looked like Rocket League, but like actually soccer.
Right. Yeah. They're really kind of focusing on the movement stuff again, and that kind of, I don't know, deep dive
it's
on
called
those
Rematch,
mechanics.
by the way.
Rematch. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I might play it based solely on the fact that it is the Sifu devs. Like if it was maybe a PlayStation Plus game, yeah, but it's, soccer's not my bag, baby. So I'm not necessarily like looking hardcore into it, but it looked like a very interesting take on that type of game.
I think there's a big market for arcade sports games. I know a really well-received one was NHL 3-on-3.
Right. Oh, dude, I remember that.
Yeah. I think so. Like this kind of being in the similar vein of that. It's like you're not actually playing soccer with your real club teams and stuff like that. It's just like fake.
A fun arcade game, like you're saying. Yeah,
I feel like that has a market. So I feel like this could be really good. I think like again those devs doing something that wasn't just Sifu 2 and sort of like putting their spin on a sport game.
That is
I think
cool.
that's awesome.
I agree. 100%.
A new Onimusha is coming out. I know that isn't Mia Trio's bag, but I just wanted to mention it. Old IP that's being resurrected for the first time. I think you have that at the time.
Oh no, that's Okami. That confused me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that? So that's like
it's like a ninja game.
But like I saw Dylan saying it's like Resident Evil-ish too. It's like it's like feudal monster Japan, like stuff like that.
I have no idea.
I think that's right, but that sounds like an interesting spin on it to me, rather than just another kind of feudal Japan game. If it's like very kind of horror oriented and like almost, they were saying like the original Resident Evil or something, like joking. So that does sound somewhat interesting to me.
Fumito Ueda, next game, Project Robot, was officially announced. So this is the guy who does Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian, Ico. This looked cool. This trailer was, again, it looks like he's getting back into the Shadow of the Colossus bag where you're going up some big Colossus thing and like, getting to the top and like that sort of gameplay. What'd you think?
Not for me. I don't know. It looked very like artsy in certain ways, which I think Shadow kind of was too. No offense to that style at all. Just, not really for me, I think. Didn't really pique my interest.
We have our first look at Borderlands 4. Wasn't impressed.
Hold on. You mean, give me just a few here. Like Forderlands, or I'm Borderlands, or this is boring as fucking shit? I did not like this trailer at all.
I think bringing Randy Pitchford out on stage was a very big mistake. I don't like him as a person or a developer.
I don't know anything about him. I know that people don't like him. He's just a goon, really?
He's an absolute goon.
Like a bad goon.
Yeah, like a bad goon. like he thinks he's like the shit, and he's not.
I see.
Like, dude, Borderlands the movie was terrible. Shut the fuck up.
Awful.
Like the last few Borderlands 3 was not great, dude. And it looks like they're like nothing about that trailer stuck out to me at all.
When it showed the Vault Hunters, I was like, they're the Vault Hunters? They didn't look zany or different from each other.
Just big and buff.
Big buff dudes. And then like, I know people do keep bringing this up, and like I am seeing it so much more now. It really does feel like there is only like one hairstyle for black people in like in video games. It's like a shaved half head with like dreads to the side. Like I don't know. Like, can we come up with something different? And even like the big dude, he was just a buff dude with guns. They weren't even that colorful. Like everyone was super muted, and I didn't give a flying fuck, dude, at all.
Yeah,
sadly.
I think Gearbox has a lot of karma. What's the word? A lot of something to
like
win
badge.
back.
Oh yeah, like grace, like good grace.
Yeah, a lot of grace. Yeah.
Oh no, I get what you mean, and I don't know, dude. Borderlands 3. I think the thing that really did not. What's the villains in that are like streamers or something, right? Like what the fuck are we doing?
So when I had the watch party, like we were kind of talking about Borderlands 3, and I'm like, it was like the villains are literally streamers, and he's like, what do you mean? Like they're like streamers? I'm like, literally. They're streamers,
like YouTube streamers.
Yeah, like that. Like I'm like, yeah, it sounds as cringy.
And are they on Pandora in that still?
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't on Pandora though, right? It's on a new planet. I thought they said.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, I thought that's what they said.
It doesn't look like there were more Iridians, which is cool. I kind of like those enemies, and they're usually like saved for like end game stuff.
The lady with the whole arms on her back walking looked kind of cool, but that was like, yeah. And can you even remember who I'm talking about?
No,
that's a problem. Yeah, so that's an issue, guys.
Mafia: The Old Country got a gameplay reveal trailer.
Mamma mia, Gooch.
This is a linear narrative-driven sequel as opposed to the open world that the Mafia games usually are. Summer 2025 release window. Mafia is set in the 1900s Sicily and takes place before all of the other Mafia games in the series.
1920s, right? I thought, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like. I think it's like 1910s.
Oh wow.
This story will focus on the origin of the Mafia itself and will cast players as Enzo, who survived a childhood of indentured labor.
So he works in the sulfur mines in the game. I didn't even know they had sulfur mines back in the day. I mean, it makes sense.
In Italy or in Sicily?
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I'm actually interested. I've never really played Mafia. I don't really know a lot about the series, but this sounds like a good jumping on point.
Dude.
And I'm really interested in games that do time periods where there's not a lot of games in. The 1910s being one of them. What am I playing right now that's set during that? Maybe I'm thinking of a game.
What about that new Like a Dragon? No, it's not Like a Dragon, but it's from that same studio.
Oh,
that looks awesome too. But like, dude, I think the idea that this is linear and narrative driven, that really is awesome to me. I like to see that.
I think I wasn't thinking about 1910s. Like Kingdom Come Deliverance and like Pentiment. Like that time period.
That's an area you really don't get explored.
So it's like kind of cool to just see it like come to life. 1920s is, or like 10s, like that like pre-World War II is not explored a lot. So like this sounds cool.
I would absolutely suggest, Gooch, if you haven't, to play the Mafia Definitive Edition. If you are going to play it, I didn't realize like when I played it, like it was a full. I mean, it makes sense because it looks amazing. It's a full remake of the first game.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. Like I think you'd love it, and especially if you're going to pick this up, like I think it's maybe worth like diving back into before. And I think you'd love the Italian of it all, for obviously.
Yeah, the Sopranos, yeah,
for sure.
And just me being Italian.
Yeah. And I think that's set during like the 40s and 50s, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like
the first Mafia game?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's still or a bit earlier.
Sega set to take on Street Fighter and Tekken once again with Virtua Fighter 6. We haven't seen this franchise since 2006.
I was gonna say, like, this is a name I remember like hearing.
Yeah,
but
like I know
really
Virtua
nothing.
Fighter just as like it's a game, but like I didn't know it wasn't around for this long.
Yeah,
so,
that's pretty wild.
Again, I think with Mortal Kombat being in a sorry state, I think we have an opportunity for some fighting games to kind of come in and take that spot of MK.
Especially for the mainstream, because I'm sure that those fighting games have had big communities in and of themselves and like from the fighting game community. But
we're not in the fighting game community.
No, we aren't. We know nothing. So we're talking more in mainstream, because I'm sure like Tekken and things are beating the shit out of like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. But
next up, we have Dispatch, which is a star-studded new game with Aaron Paul, Jeffrey Wright, Laura Bailey, and more. It's a narrative dialogue game driven around. Oh wait, hold on. So, okay, this is what the game's about. Dispatch has you playing as Robert Robertson, a.k.a. Mecha Man, whose mech suit is destroyed in a battle against his nemesis, forcing him to take a job at a superhero dispatch center, not as a hero, but a dispatcher. I think this game sounds really cool. I really like the trailer. I really like what I was hearing and seeing. It just seemed like kind of a cool concept and like a fun, like, novel, novel kind of
it reminds me of like the damage control thing that they were trying to do with Marvel, and like there was another show where Alan Tudyk plays, I don't know if it ever made it, but he plays like Bruce Wayne's cousin, and he runs the thing that like cleans up after the superheroes or something like that.
Wasn't Vanessa Hudgens also in that show?
I think so, yeah, and it never made it to air. I think they just like filmed the pilot. Interesting. I thought they said something from the, I thought this was going to be a Telltale game at first.
But it's in the same style.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. But no, that's cool. Hey, Mecha Man, build a new suit.
No.
Why not? Why can't you build a new suit?
We need a game.
Oh, fair. All right. Makes sense.
We have seen Outer Worlds 2 for the second time, re-emerging with a brand new trailer. Honestly, not that I didn't think it looked great, but it looked very similar to the first one.
Sure. I thought, I actually really adored the trailer. I thought it was very good. I like the tone of the trailers a lot, and they don't lean into them too heavily, like within the actual game, which I think is a good idea. But I thought it looks good. I really just want them to kind of focus more on exploration this time. Like, I don't feel like there was a lot of dungeons in the first game. I just don't feel like you kind of explore the same way that you did in even, say, like a Fallout New Vegas. And, that comes from those smaller kind of areas that they're doing, and I understand that. But I like the Outer Worlds world, and I think, I'm excited to see another, one in the series. And I can't believe they're doing Avowed and this on the same year, apparently. Which is pretty insane. Obsidian.
Yeah. I just need Outer Worlds to be better. I remember our review, us talking about how it was really okay. It just needs to fine, not be. It needs to be more than okay.
Right, yeah.
Final Fantasy 17 or 16's Clive Rossfield is joining Tekken. That was a pretty cool announcement. Ninja Gaiden is returning as a side scroller called Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Trio, I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
None.
The secret level Pac-Man episode is getting turned into a Metroidvania with Katashiro Harada producing.
It was good.
This looked cool. So Secret Levels Pac-Man episode is getting a very own game called Shadow Labyrinth, and it looks to tell more of the story of this darker, edgier version of the iconic arcade character. Players will still be running around in a maze like place trying to eat and stay alive like the original game, but this time around it looks to be more of a Metroidvania style game. This is set to launch in 2025. I just thought it was like a really unique take on Pac-Man.
Definitely.
I gotta get around to Secret Levels.
I do too. Well, yeah, I mean they're only like 20. I've heard like mixed
I think
things.
half the season's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, oh no, I think both halves are now out.
Oh, geez.
But I might be wrong. No. I'm curious what came first, the chicken or the egg here. I'm curious if they were making this game and then they decided to do a secret level based off it, or someone came up with this idea for the secret level episode and they were like, ooh, we could like make that into a game.
We were talking about before the show about what we're reviewing next. We should probably like get through that.
What?
And
yeah.
review that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have some like space between now and like the end of the year. Like,
Wait, review what?
Secret Levels.
Oh, duh. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. It looks very interesting. And Pac-Man's been around for so long that like, yeah, fuck it. Try something real. Like, let's really try and do something different with the character. I'll check it out, depending price wise. Anyways,
what do you think about Turok returning? Co-op
Gooch.
dinosaur hunting action game, and it's ditching the first person as it used to be.
Yeah, that kind of makes me sad. I didn't know that. But dude, when I saw this, like the start of this trailer, I sent it in Discord. I'm like, is this Turok? Because he shoots the guy.
I was like, is this Turok? And then I was like, it's Turok.
He fucking shoots the dinosaur, and then, the three characters come up. They have these, like, anamorph type of things that, like, turn them into, like, fucking scaled dinosaur-like people. Dude, it looks awesome. I'm actually really excited. I hope it's not just... I know it's co-op, but I hope it's a one-and-done. You buy it co-op. I hope they don't try and turn into this live service bullshit.
The multiplayer is fully integrated into the campaign.
Oh, and it's a full campaign game, though? Like, it's
yes.
Okay, awesome. Dude, I'm excited. I love Turok growing up. It's like one of my earlier memories of video games, to be honest, is playing a Turok. So I think that's very cool. I'm happy to see them bringing it back. Who is developing? I saw Saber Interactive, right? I think it was. Mm-hmm. So that sounds interesting to me. Yeah, the players will use biomorphic suits. That sounds so fucking awesome. Like, the weird technology mixed with dinosaurs. You don't see it. So I think it's great.
Yeah. And last, actually, two more things.
Which one do you want to do first?
Let's do Okami.
That's what I was
think
thinking.
We have less to do. Mm-hmm. So Okami 2 got unveiled at the Game Awards. Jeff was literally like crying revealing this. I thought it was like,
what is this?
I was like, I'm like, like, what the fuck is this? I am never played Okami. I know it's a very beloved game. So I guess it's good that it's coming back.
Right.
I know there was our HD remaster that came out recently, so you could play the original. But Hideki Kamiya is back on board as a Konami alum. While we didn't see too much, we did get to watch a reveal teaser with the music being played by the live orchestra. But again, not much more than that other than, hey, it's coming. I really thought we were going to see Half. Actually, when he was crying, I thought that was Half-Life 3. I really did. Like, the way he introed that, I'm like, Half-Life 3.
Well, I guess, but this, see, we don't know much about Okami, but apparently this is a very big deal. This is
yeah,
back, right?
yeah,
Like,
no,
this is very, like, so that does make sense, but I agree. I was like, I actually had no idea. I'm like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
I really didn't know.
Now, last but certainly not least, I would say probably the biggest announcement of the night. We have finally heard about what Naughty Dog is up to, and they're headed to space with Intergalactic, the Heretic Profit.
What a name. What a name and a title card.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Very,
yes.
very cool name.
Very cool.
This game is being directed by Neil Druckmann and features a new original score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross of Nine Inch Nails, and is already being billed as the start of a franchise that has been in development since 2020. According to Druckmann on the PlayStation blog, Intergalactic stars our new protagonist, Jordan A. Munn, a dangerous bounty hunter who ends up stranded on Sempria, a distant planet whose communication with the outside universe went dark hundreds of years ago. In fact, anyone who's flown into it hoping to unravel the mystery of the planet was never heard from again. Jordan will have to use all her skills and wits if she hopes to be the first person in over 600 years to leave its orbit. Toddy Gabrielle will play Jordan, as she will be joined by a stellar cast that looks to include Camille Nanjiani and the guy who plays Lalo Salamanca from Better Call Saul.
He's great in that, by the way.
Yeah,
He really, So
yeah.
I'm actually excited to see him.
Don't really care about Camille Nanjiani. I saw him and I was like, okay,
That's fine, yeah.
yeah. But
I usually enjoy him in whatever he's in, so that's not like a bad thing by any means.
what did you think of our reveal trailer for this?
Dude, I really fucking dug this. Like, overall, the vibes, the style of, the space travel, and, people were like, I saw some people, I hate even like saying people. I saw some people dunking on like the product placement of it all, but like, they're like, oh, product placement, the game. And it's like, you know what, that, like, personally for me, and I mentioned this in the Discord, product placement doesn't bother me as long as it makes sense contextually. Like, if you're drinking a Coke or something like that, like, yeah, people drink Coke in real life. It also makes those fucking shows and everything feel more grounded in reality, whereas, like, seeing that she's driving a Porsche spaceship, and she still is using CDs, and it's a Sony player, lets me know immediately this is squarely our universe. Maybe not in the same time frame, but, like, there is a connection there, and that is cool to me. There was other things, like, people starting to go off, like, stupid people. And I think people who are given more air by the people who actually hate them, being like, it's a woman protagonist or whatever, and like going off on
bald
that. Bald, like, who, what the fuck? I can't relate to this fucking woman who's bald. Oh, did you relate to Crash Bandicoot very well? I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. The whole, like, relating to the character thing in video games really bugs the shit out of me. Because, like,
that shit.
I
so
don't play
annoying.
video games to relate to the person I'm playing as. That happens sometimes, don't get me wrong. And, we have the luxury of having a lot of media that has people who look like us, white dudes, getting along, so I'll take that as it will. But at the same time, like, I'm not playing Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, to identify with Jordan or whatever. So that was also bothersome. But, dude, I really loved it. What did you think? I'm going on.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're getting a very Akira, Cowboy Bebop kind of game here. Like, like, again, like, her jacket looked like Kaneda's jacket, like the bike being the ship, the analog stuff with, like, the record player. It all looked like aesthetics that I really adore.
Very Blade Runner-y alien style, as on top of
like
all
the
that.
analog
like
tech. Yeah.
And like the CCTV, it's a really great look.
Yeah, I'm excited. I wonder if this is what Troy Baker was talking about that he's in.
Right. I'm sure he's in this. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, so I really wanted Naughty Dog to do something different. I think that was, like, my one thing about, like, whatever they do, I hope it's not Uncharted or Last of Us, because I'm really sick of the real world, hyper realistic graphics, of what, like, I feel like, not that Uncharted and Last of Us are the same, but they're kind of like, very real worldy
Very
and not that
super
Intergalactic.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is what I wanted for Naughty
This
Dog.
is
Something
very
totally
outside the
different.
box of what they have been doing before.
Yeah,
the
for
other
like
ones were
10
shooty,
for like
real world
15
games.
years.
Right,
You know,
right.
they've been doing this one thing for like a while.
Right, for sure.
So it's interesting to see them get out of the box.
And I think, it's still going to be very much that third person over the shoulder action, it seems, but they are going to have much more to spice it up. Hopefully they were talking about that gameplay wise when they were doing interviews and stuff. Looks wise, again, you can't beat it. Her like sound level sword. Ugh, it's so good, man. I'm very excited to see what they bring. And dude, I would have bet my house that it was Last of Us 3 next for them. Genuinely.
Yeah, I think
I don't know
need to
why I really
space
thought
out
that was
some
it.
time.
Well, I think they're also trying to space it out with the TV show because that second season is only going to be half of the first game of the second game. I'm guessing.
Yeah, you think so?
I do. I think there's just so much more to cover in that game compared to the first.
Well, I think it's fine to take a break. I mean, their last game was The Last of Us, right?
Dude,
like
I
with
completely
Last
agree.
of Us, they did have like Uncharted 4 and not Lost Legacy.
Yeah. I was saying that more. I didn't want it to be their next game. I just assumed, to be honest.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, man, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah. And that does it for the Game Awards 2024. We'll see you in January with our personal Game of the Years.
Absolutely. And thank you all for watching with us. If you've been live on with us live, I should say, on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. We really appreciate your time. You can find this podcast on any service you like. Just search us on that service and we will pop right up. You can find all of us on the social media pages as well, at Delco Nerds, on basically everything with an @ sign. We got a Facebook page, Discord channel, all that good stuff will be linked down below. You can even email us your comments, questions, or concerns to delconerds@gmail.com. We are happy to respond. All this information is on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We really appreciate it. A like on these videos does really help with like the algorithmic bullshit and kind of push us out there. We've been really doing pretty good when it comes to views wise on our last episode. It's been nice to see everyone's been tagging along. So we really appreciate your viewership. We appreciate you telling people about us. We appreciate you watching along with us. But for Gooch, I've been Trio, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.